Yasya Indrayaha Spardhaman Bhagavan Varshena Vavarse Tad Avadharya Bhagavan Rishabdevo Yogeshwaraha Rahasyatma Yoga Mayaya Swavarsham Ajanabham Nama Habhyavarsha Yasya, of whom a ended Indra, King Indra of heaven, Spardhamanaha, been envious, Bhagavan, very opulent, Varse, on Bharata Varsha, Nava Varsha, did not pour water, that, that, Avadharya, knowing Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rishabdevaha, Rishabhadev, Yogaishwaraha, Master of all mystic power, Rahasya, smiling, Atma Yoga Mayaya, by his own spiritual potency, Swavarsham, on his place, Ajanabam, Ajanava, Nama, name, Abhyavarshat, he poured water. Translation: King Indra, the king of heaven, who is very materially opulent, became envious of King Rishabdev. Consequently, he stopped pouring water on the planet known as Bharatavarsha. At that time, the Supreme Lord Sri Rishabdev, the master of all mystic power, understood King Indra's purpose and smiled a little. Then, by his own progress through Yoga Maya, his internal potency, he profusely poured water upon his own place, which was known as Ajanava. Please respond. Indra, the king of heaven, was very materially opulent, became envious of King Rishabdeva. Consequently, he stopped pouring water on the planet known as Bharatavarsha. At that time, the Supreme Lord, Rishabdeva, the master of all mystic power, understood King Indra's purpose and smiled a little. Then, by his own prowess through Yoga Maya, his internal potency, he profusely poured water upon his own place, which was known as Ajanava. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We find the word Bhagavan used twice in this verse. Both King Indra and Rishabdeva, the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, are described as Bhagavan. Sometimes Narada and Lord Brahma also addressed as Bhagavan. The word Bhagavan means that one is a very opulent and powerful person like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Narada or Indra. They are all addressed as Bhagavan due to their extraordinary opulence. King Rishabdeva is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and therefore he was the original Bhagavan. Consequently, he is described here as Yogeshwara, which indicates that he was the most powerful spiritual potency. He has the most powerful spiritual potency. He is not independent on King, he is not dependent on King Indra for water. He can supply water himself, and he did so in this case. In Bhagavad Gita it is stated, Yagyat bhavati parjanyaha, Bhagavad Gita 3:14. Due to the performance of yajna, clouds of water manifest in the sky. Clouds and rainfall are under the management of Indra, the heavenly king. But when Indra is neglectful, the Supreme Lord himself, who is also known as Yajna or Yajnapati, takes the task upon himself. Consequently, there was sufficient rainfall in the place named Ajana. When Yajnapati wants to, he can do anything without the help of any subordinate. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is known as Almighty. In the present age of Kali, there will eventually be a scarcity, great scarcity of water, anavristi. For the general populace, due to ignorance and the scarcity of yajnic ingredients, will neglect to perform yajnas. Srimad Bhagavatam therefore advises Yajne Sankirtantre Yajante Sumedasaha. After all, Yajna is meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this age of Kali, there is great scarcity and ignorance. Nonetheless, everyone can perform Sankirtan Yajna. Every family in every society can conduct Sankirtan Yajna at least every evening. In this way, there will be no disturbance or scarcity of rain. It is essential for the people in this age to perform Sankirtan Yajna in order to be materially happy and to advance spiritually. Vamajnanatimirandasya gnanajnanaksharakaन् चक्षुर्मिलितव्यनदस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं सत्कृतं येन भूतले स्वारूपगदात्मान् ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुता श्रीगुरु वैष्णव श्रीरूपं सुखजातं सगनरघुनाथमितं धारि भूषं शवदूतं भजनं सहितं चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदं सगनविदितां जगन्नाथं हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपीशा गोपीकन्धा राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते सात्त्वकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी देवी प्रणमामि हरे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्चात्यजतकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री जगदाधार शिवाश्रुति गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So, thank you for coming on today, Bhagavatam 5:4:3. Indra, the king of heaven, who is very materially opulent, became envious of King Rishabdeva. So this is the nature of the demigods. Especially if someone is practicing severe austerities, then they become worried that this person will eventually usurp their position as controllers of, becoming the next Indra, like that. It is said here, sometimes the progress or imperfect transcendentalism is checked by attachment to family members, disciples, or others who are sent by envious demigods for that purpose. But on the strength of their accumulated advancement, such imperfect transcendentalists will resume their practice of yoga in the next life. They will never again be trapped in the network of fruitive work. So you see here, the devotee, sometimes the progress of imperfect transcendentalism is checked by attachment to family members, disciples, others, was sent by envious demigods. Today, Indra, he did the same thing. Yes? Huh? So see the demigods on one hand, you go to them, they give you material benefits. But on the other hand, they can also be checking your spiritual progress. Especially if you are spiritually becoming very, advanced. See? So if you fall down, just blame the demigods. Huh? If you fall down, you say, "Oh, Prabhu, it is the demigods who did this thing onto me." Huh? Yes. So Indra, she is, noted for doing these things. You can see here. So there are many learned sages, philosophers, and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses, but in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to the agitated mind. Even Vishwamitra, a great sage and perfect yogi, was misled by Menaka into sex enjoyment. Although the yogi was endeavoring for sense control with severe types of penance and yoga practice, and of course, there are so many similar instances in the history of the world. So this Vishwamitra, he fell down because Indra sent Menaka to seduce him. And by hearing, what is that, ankle bells, he became victimized. So you see how they're not that they are not powerful, they're very powerful. You know, these apsaras, they're extremely beautiful, not that they're lightweight. It says in the material world, nobody but the sage Naranarayan can conquer the influence of women. Nobody except. So this is the tendency of Indra to kind of check. Anybody is what? So he is this envious mentality. Although he is in heaven, we read that verse, right? Demigods were envious of anybody who, where is that verse? Where? Hello? Don't know. 100? 28, 11, 20? No? Come on. What? Huh? Hello? Come on. Oh, you don't know nothing. One cannot find permanent happiness. Panditji, scratching your head. Sunday only you can. Even on the heavenly planet, which one can attain in the next life by ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifice. Even in material heaven, the living entity is disturbed by rivalry with his equals and envy of those superior to him. Right? And since one's residence in heaven is finished with the exaltation of pious activities, fruitive activities, the dissonance of heaven are inflicted by fear, anticipating the destruction of the heaven life. Thus, they resemble kings who, though enviously admired by ordinary citizens, are constantly harassed by enemy kings and who therefore never attain actual happiness. See, they are in constant fear, you know. Indra is always nervous. Somebody is going to overtake him. So in today's thing, you understand? Huh? So he tried to harm. Yeah? So he did this also. I'm going to give you examples of how he did this in various circumstances. Huh? We'll go to this. He tried to. Can hear Indra. King Indra became fearful, thinking that Naranarayana Rishi would become very powerful by severe penances and seize Indra's heavenly kingdom. Thus, Indra, not knowing the transcendental glories of the incarnation of the Lord, sent Cupid and his associate to the Lord's residence in Badrika Ashram. As the charming breezes of spring created a most sensuous atmosphere, Cupid himself attacked the Lord with arrows in the form of irresistible glances of beautiful women. So that so Indra, he tried to, yeah. So in the material world, not that the demigods are very protecting the devotees, Yeah? Primeval Lord, understanding the offense committed by Indra, did not become proud. Instead, he spoke laughingly as follows to Cupid and his followers, who were trembling before him. Do not fear, O mighty mother, O winged god and wives of the demigod. Rather, please accept these gifts I am offering you and kindly sanctify my ashram by your presence. See how the Lord is thinking otherwise. Huh? He is he is not envious. Just like today, Rishabdev, he was not implicated. He just smiled. Narayan also. See? On top of that, you can see here My dear King Nimi, when Naranarayan's rishis thus spoke, eradicating the fear of demigods, they bowed their heads with shame and addressed the Lord as follows. To invoke his compassion, our dear Lord, you are always transcendental beyond the reach of illusion and therefore you are forever changeless. Your causeless compassion towards us, despite our great offense, is not at all unusual in you, since innumerable sages were self-satisfied and free from anger and false pride. Bow down humbly at your lotus feet. So here, position of the Lord is, different. Whereas we just read the case of Vishwamitra, who is a conditioned soul. Right? So the demigods, they have no jurisdictions, can act powerfully on the Supreme Personality of God. They just they have no jurisdiction there. You understand? So then, understanding this, the demigods place many obstacles on the path of those who worship you to transcend the temporary abodes of the demigod and reach your supreme abode. See again, the demigods, what? Place many obstacles of those who worship you to transcend the temporary abodes. You understand? So although God, what is that? The three kinds of huh? Yeah. So Adi, Devi, Demigod, they create problems. Understand? That's why we don't recommend you to worship demigods. Hello? Yeah? Your supreme abode, those who offer the demigod their assigned shares in sacrificial performance encounter no such obstacle. But because you are the direct protector of your devotee, he is able to step over the head of whatever obstacle the demigod placed before him. You understand? Hello? Huh? So the devotees, because they are, that's why Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya Pratijane, my devotees you cannot. In fact, even what his name said, Yamaraj, we have no jurisdiction on the devotee. Hello? Huh? We have no jurisdiction on the devotee. We cannot. Correct? Bad devotees, no demigods can. Of course, the qualification we have to become devotees, not that we just brand ourselves as devotees and do anything under the sun. Yeah? You understand? I think this is a perfect example of this is when Haridas Thakur, he was, what? Huh? Haridas Thakur was attacked of he was tested by Maya Devi, correct? And she could not blow him alone because his devotion to Krishna. Some men practice severe penance to cross beyond your influence, which is like an immeasurable ocean with endless waves of hunger, thirst, heat, cold, and other conditions brought about by the passing of time, such as the sensuous greed and the urges of the tongue and the sex organs. Nevertheless, although crossing this ocean of sense gratification through severe penance, such persons foolishly drown in calf's hoofprint when conquered by useless anger. Thus they exhaust the benefit of their difficult austerities in vain. This is the classic example of who? Huh? Vishwamitra. Second time, Indra sent again another Apsara. And this time he understood this is again Indra's trick and he burned her to ashes. But again he fell down to anger. First he was lust, second time he fell down with what? As the verse can see. Understand? You follow? Hello? Yeah. So there's a difference. You understand? The conditioned soul who trying to do big tapasya cannot control. Whereas devotees like Haridas Thakur, because he surrendered to Krishna, and what to speak about Haridas? What is his name? Ambarish Maharaj. Huh? He also transcended. Correct? Of course, there are many examples, many devotees. So, while the demigods were thus praising the Supreme Lord, the all-powerful Lord suddenly manifested before their eyes many women who were astonishingly gorgeous, decorated with fine clothes and ornaments, and all faithfully engaged in God's service. He created, women. Indra sent the woman. He created women, and these women were actually, you see, they were more beautiful than the one who came. When the followers of the demigod gaze upon the fascinating, mystic beauty of the women created by Narayan, Rishi, and smell the fragrance of their body, the minds of these followers became bewildered. Indeed, upon seeing the beauty and magnificence of such women, the representatives of demigods were completely diminished in their own opinion. I mean, can you imagine? He came to seduce him and he created a woman more beautiful than this woman. And they looked and they became very much disturbed. Why we came for it? This is because Narayan is God. Understand? He is what? God, Supreme Personality of God. Again, yeah, same thing. He tried. But Rishabh he created more rain. Huh? You understand? Yeah, it's the power of God. And then he said, the Supreme Lord of Lord then smiled slightly and told the representative who were bowing down before him, please choose one of these women, whomever you find suitable for you. She will become the ornament of the heavenly throne. Just look at it. Now you choose anyone you want, they can go. You see how embarrassing? Yeah? You mess around with the Lord. You understand? Yeah? Yeah, one of them will be Urvasi, and she will be, they will take her and go. So you see how the power of God, the demigods, they always think that they are very powerful. You understand? Yeah? Hello? Yeah? Another example, yeah. Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, Parikshit, when Indra understood that his sacrifice has been put aside, he became furious with Nanda Maharaj and the coward men who are accepting Krishna as their Lord. Yeah? Angry Indra sent forth the clouds of universal destruction known as Samvartaka. Imagining himself the supreme controller, he spoke as follows. See how Indra? Huh? He thinks he is the what? Supreme controller. Hmm? Indra said, just see how this coward man living in the forest has become so greatly intoxicated by their prosperity. They have surrendered to an ordinary human being, Krishna, and thus they have offended the God. See how he is speaking? Huh? See how Indra is speaking? He doesn't know Krishna is Supreme Personality God. Of course, Krishna bewildered him, that's for sure. Then you see, what else he said? They are taking shelter of Krishna is just like the foolish attempt of man who abandon transcendental knowledge of the self and instead try to cross over the great ocean of material existence in the false boat of fruitful ritual sacrifices. He doesn't know this was also implied to him. No? He himself is always promoting all these rituals and sacrifices. Understand? Because yeah? You think Krishna is what? Huh? Ordinary. Yeah, I'm saying this Krishna is what? Ordinary person. Fool deride me when I come. Huh? What is that? You know the verse? Are you reading Bhagavad Gita? Not, are you reading? Then how come you don't know this verse? Avajanante mam mudda. Very famous, 911. You know number 911? You know now. 911 has been hatched in our history, correct? Right? Like 711. Huh? What is this 911? Hello? No need to take notes. Where? Sit here beside him. You come sit here. What is 911? Avajanante mam manusyantanam. What is the next line? Huh? Parambhavam ajananto mamabhutam maheshwaram. What the translation? Fool deride me when I come in this human form. They think that I am what?
They do not know the transcendental nature.
Does not know my transcendental nature. See? So you see how he is speaking? Indra. This coward man has acted inimically toward me by taking shelter of this ordinary human being, Krishna, who thinks himself very wise but who is simply foolish, arrogant, over talkative child. See the words he is using here, Indra? Yeah? See the word, look at it, will you speak like that about Krishna? Huh? Hello? Will you say these words? Huh? The clouds of destruction, King Indra said, the prosperity of these people has made them mad with pride, and the arrogance is backed by Krishna. Now go and remove their pride and bring their animal to destruction. In our verse today, he stopped sending rain, correct? Here, he is sending the rain. Intoxicated with pride. Indra. Who is intoxicated with pride here? Huh? See, how is he talking? That's why when you get puffed up, then you talk what? Nonsense. You have to be careful. Pride goes before. Pride goes before what? Also don't know. Hello? You only know dollars and cents, right? Pride goes before fall. Understand? So we have to be careful. That's why we cannot become proud. We cannot become, then our intelligence will be screwed. Just like you. Indra's intelligence became a. Can you imagine talking like that to about your boss? You can say like that about your boss. Tomorrow immediately you will get pink sheet. What color sheet? Huh? Now no more pink sheet, just some SMS here, please go home. Right? Can you imagine that? You see? Now. And his address is Bhagavan on top of that. Well, see how the whole Vedic culture. Understand? I will follow you to Bridger riding on my elephant Ayurveda and taking with me the sweet and powerful wind god to disseminate the coward village of Nandavara. Because you all know the story goes, Krishna what? Knows this is the pride of Indra. And then he goes and lifts up Govardhan hill. And he holds it up in his only in his little finger for 7 days. And 7 nights, not just 7 days, 7 days and 7 nights. Because they were under the Govardhan hill, they did not have any thirst, hunger, sleep, transcendent. See how Krishna is so powerful. God is God. God is God. Understand? Today the word is Yogeshwara. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Bharta Dhanutara. So who is this Yogeshwara? Hmm? You understand? So try to understand this. All these examples are to give us the understanding that the demigods they have limited powers, and they also make mistakes. They also anyone on the three modes of material nature, they are subject to what? The four defects. You understand? And the demigods are under the modes of material nature. It is not that they are outside the nature. There is no being existing. You know this word? Then you're not taking any notes. You have to tell you every time what is this? Ramesh is not interested. Yes, too much work now trying to type all this out. Yeah? Yes. There is no being existing either here among the demigods in the higher planetary system which is free from the three modes born of material nature. Demigods are under the modes of material nature. They are not above the modes. You understand? Krishna is not different. Krishna is Vishnu Tattva. I mean, they all are not under the modes of material nature. Right? Understand? In the Bhagavad Gita, I quoted that verse the last time. Yes, you know where it says Krishna is not under the control of the modes in the Bhagavad Gita. Get the Bhagavad Gita because easy for you. You know. I quoted. You took the notes. Huh? Where? Where in the Bhagavad Gita it says that Krishna is beyond the modes? Everybody looking now. They don't look at my face. All looking down to somewhere. Hey, Prabhu. And maybe I will not give class anymore because too much tension for you. Yeah? Yes? Seven? Seven what? 7:12 and 7:13. I showed the last, I think when? Last week? Huh? Are you reading Bhagavad Gita, Anna? Hello? It's the worst book to read. Because if you read it, you get into trouble. Why? Prabhu will ask you again and I don't know. Then how? Yeah? Yes? See? 7:12. Know that all state of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy, and I'm in one sense everything, and I'm independent. I'm not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. I am not under the modes of. Ah, you understand? Of course, there are many, many verses in the Bhagavatam. I mean, there's so many verses there, right? So the easy one to remember. This one is very easy to remember. Prabhupada also quote this many times. Arihe nirguna sabcha. Ari he nirguna sabcha. Purusha prakritehe paraha. Sa sarvatra upadrista tam bhajan nirguno bhavat. Arihe he nirguna sabcha. That means what? The modes of material nature have no jurisdiction on the Lord. Lord Hari, however, has no connection with the material mode. He is what? The Supreme Personality of God, the all-seeing maternal witness who is transcendental to material nature. One who worship Him becomes similarly free from the material. In other words, the devotees are also free from the modes of material nature. You understand? So this position is the position of the devotees and the Lord. But the demigods, they don't have that jurisdiction. Understand? Why? Because they are not fully surrendered to the Lord. In fact, they always go to the Lord when they have trouble. They what? Only in trouble they come home and dear Lord, please help. There is no trouble. In fact, they himself say, owing to a lot of material opulence, we have almost forgotten. Yes, 5:19. Hello. Don't know. Hare Krishna. What is that? 5:19? 20? The demigods continue. After performing this very difficult task of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifice, undergoing austerities, observing vows, and giving charities, we have achieved this position as inhabitants of the heavenly planet. But what is the value of this achievement? Here we are certainly very engaged in certainly very engaged in material sense gratification, and therefore we can hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. Indeed, because of our excessive sense gratification, we have almost forgotten his lotus feet. In other words, as Krishna also said in the Bhagavad Gita, hello?
244. 244.
Very good. Bhogaisvara prasattanam. Hello? No need to write. This word I know already, Prabhu. Bhoga Aishwarya Prasattanam Tayapaharta Sedasham Vyavatsatmika Buddhi Samadhavana. For one who is so very much attached to what? Sense gratification, the resolute determination of devotional service does not take place. Right? So therefore it is very dangerous to try to enjoy the sense. Just is the example of who? Example of who? Huh? Who? Who? Indra. Yeah, Indra. Also, what is his name? Two sons of Kuvel. Nalakuvara Manigrava, sons of a rich man. Right? Correct? Too much open to sense gratification. Jaga and Mother. Hello? Huh? So see how detrimental it is. That's why Krishna says, if I really please someone, the first thing I do is what? Take away the brother. That's it. That is my supreme mercy. That is dangerous. Make you what? Proud. That's why Indra, the reason why Krishna stopped the sacrifice, because Indra was puffed up. So to teach him his lesson, he what? Did this whole transcendental leela. Then later on Indra realized when he goes down and pray to the Lord, please forgive me, I did all this. Huh? Just like the all those who went to Naranarayan, they were very shocked, when he created. So when Krishna created this pastime, Indra was stunned. 7 days, 7 nights. Wow. And no problem. Right? Then he stopped his what? His attack on Govardhan here. So see how here today's verse. Idam shariram mama durvyabhavyam sattvam me hridayam yatra dharmaha praste krito me yat adharma harat ato he mam rishabham prabhu arya. My transcendental body, Sachidananda Vigraha, looks exactly like a human form, but is not a material human body. It is inconceivable. I am not forced by nature to accept a particular type of body. I take on a body by my own sweet will. My heart is also spiritual, and I always think of the welfare of my devotees. Therefore, within my heart can be found the process of devotional service, which is meant for the devotees. Far from my heart, I have abandoned irreligion, adharma, and non-devotional activity. They do not appeal to me. Due to all these transcendental qualities, people generally pray to me as Rishabdeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the best of all living entities. So Rishabdeva is what? Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Indra is trying to, correct? See here. You understand? This we will go on when we go to the fifth chapter. I don't have time already. I'm finished with the class now, actually, because Prabhupada was saying about not performing yajna, right? The purport, no? Correct? So to counter this thing that we have to perform, huh? Yeah. Where is stated to do Sankirtan yajna? Yeah, that is in the purpose, no? Where else it says you must do Sankirtan yajna? Yajante sumedasa, those who are intelligent, eh? Those who are intelligent will do this. Where else is stated to do Sankirtan yajna? Yeah? Well, that you can say chanting, but to say exactly to chant Kali Yuga, what? Huh? Last word? Where? Bhagavatam. Oh, Bhagavatam, last word. But I will go here, which is more appropriate. Those who actually advance in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali. Such enlightened person worship Kali Yuga because in this fallen age, all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of Sankirtanam. Yes? Hello? Huh? And yet, there is no higher possible gain for the embodied soul forced to wander throughout the material world than the Supreme Lord Sankirtan movement, by which one can attain the supreme peace and free oneself from the cycle of repeated birth and death. Hmm? These two verses are very important. Because it's now Yajante Sumedasa, you know what verse is that? There's one verse after this. Because in the CC, there are so many verses. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam kalam nasteva gadir. You cannot do any other thing except that, because there's very important verse that we always say. What is that verse? Kalau Mahan Asti Eko Mahan. What is that? What is that? Huh? Hello? Kalau Nide. Kalau doše nide rajan ayasti Eko Mahan. Kirtaneva Krishnasya Mukta Sangam. What is that number? 12? 12? 3. 12, 3, 51. So you see how the chanting is the most important. So many mistakes are there in Kali Yuga, false. But the chanting, Kalau dosha nide rajan asti he aiko mahan guna. Kirtaneva e Krishna siya mukta shankam param vijaya. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of foam, there is still one good quality of the day. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. That's why Prabhupada in the purport he said at least the householders and everyone just can come together in the evening and at least chant. So if you can come, because here we have the Arati at 7 o'clock, you can chant, sing Hare Krishna. This way you can counteract all this. And not only that, the Lord will protect, my devotee who chants, right? Krishna says, I protect him. Huh?
You said the demigods give trouble to the devotees, but only Indra seems to be the one giving trouble. Any other demigods are okay. It looks like.
What is his name? He also went, Varuna's man went and captured Nanda Maharaj because he went to take bath in the wrong time. Yeah? So Varuna's man. So they are.
Haridas Thakur, Maya.
Maya Devi tested him. Right? So if you fall down, don't worry. You just say the demigod did mischief on me, but actually it's not me. So you can go back to ISKCON in that sense. True? Huh? The demigod, the culprit for this. Correct? Yes?
The other question is this Manushan Dharmashritam. The Mayavadis can easily interpret in a way that Ashritam means taking shelter. He's taking shelter of the human body just like we also take shelter of the body. It's not like he is the body. He's taking shelter of the Manushan Dharmashritam, human body.
Of course, with the soul is embodied in the human body, but the purpose of the soul is to control the senses.
No, the Lord is saying Manushan Dharmashritam.
Manusyam,
Manushan Dharmashritam. So it sounds like he is taking the ashraya of the body, of the human body.
the Lord.
Manushan Dharmashritam. So he's taking shelter of a material body, human body.
Does it make sense? Because he is creating all these bodies. Then how he has to take shelter of the human body? Then, all these bodies, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 18, what? Yantra, Rudani, Maya. So all these bodies are what created by me. So how does it take shelter of the body? Doesn't make any sense.
So the Sanskrit development.
He is creating all these bodies and putting all the souls for them to, go through their karmic reactions. You understand? Yeah? See, to explain that, we can go here. You see, in this verse, King Nemi said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into the material world by his internal potency and according to his own desire. Therefore, please tell us about the various pastimes that Lord Hari performed in the past, is performing now, and perform in this world, and the future in his various incarnations. Hmm? Just reading that. Let me get back and check this. And the primeval Lord Narayana created his universal body out of the five elements produced from himself and then entered within that universal body by his own plenary portion. He thus became known as Purusha. Right? So he created the whole thing. Then within his body are elaborate arrangement, the three planetary systems of the universe, the transcendental senses generate the knowledge acquiring and active senses of all embodied beings. His consciousness generate conditioned knowledge and his powerful breathing produce the bodily strength, sensory power, and conditioned activities of the embodied soul. He is the prime mover through the agency of material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And thus the universe is created and maintained and enlightened. If this is a fact, then how you can be taking shelter of the material body? Yeah.
They say it's, in the spiritual world, he has spiritual Brahma. But when he enters the material world, he has to accept the body and know goodness.
That is their speculation. When he comes here, he becomes conditioned like the conditioned soul. But in this verses, it doesn't show that. That's why this Bhagavad verses, this verses, how powerful it is. Huh? If he is creating everything, then how does he become conditioned? Especially, we have just quoted you the verses that show that he is beyond the mode of mental nature. Huh? Then how he can again become under the mode of mental nature? Does it make any sense? Huh? There's another verse after this. In the beginning, the original Supreme Personality manifested the form of Brahma through the material mode of passion in order to create the universe. The Lord manifested his form as Lord Vishnu, the Lord of sacrifice and protector of the twice born Brahmanas and their religious duty, maintain the universe. And when the universe is to be annihilated, the same Supreme Lord employed the mode of ignorance and manifested the form of Rudra. The created living beings are thus always subject to the forces of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Questions again?
Why did he say then that kind of, why did he say that kind of, uh, why did he use that kind of grammar?
Yeah, because to those who don't accept him, to encourage them, he says like that. Bewilder them. So those who want to find the God is formless and we all become one with him and all kind of thing, he does this kind of. That's the power of God, he can bewilder you. But for the devotees, he reveals.
Gopāl also writing that.
You see, that's the verse. What is that verse that, for the Bhagavatam? The Bhagavatam, the verse? No? The verse on the 10th canto. Dasame, Lakshyam. You know that verse? What is that verse? Dasame, huh? Isn't the CC, 10th canto. What is that? It's a very important verse. You can see. Can you take that out for me? Dasame, huh? 10, huh? What? Huh? 10 one. It is in 10th canto. Hello? It's not in the 10th canto. No, not this verse. You see the CC. Huh? RD 295. This is good. Dasamam Lakshyam Asrita. Is it the word? Asrita Asraya Vigraham. Right? Sri Krishna Kyam Param Dhama Jagat Dhama Namami Tat. So this verse, very important verse. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam reveals the 10th object, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the shelter of all the surrendered soul. Listen, how is the shelter of the surrendered soul take shelter of the what? Material body. Does it make sense? Huh? Asrita Ashraya is known as Sri Krishna and is the ultimate source of all universes. Let me offer my obeisances unto. And this puts their theory to their, off completely.
No, that's fine. Just let us know is on.
Huh? This is not
Is there a
real.
wise?
This verse is from the Bhagavatam, Prabhu.
No, it's just let us know is on. The reason is there. I mean, the question is basically, what is the Vaishnava explanation for Manasam Karmasam? What is the Vaishnava explanation for Manasam Karmasam?
This is the explanation. This Vaishnava, with the topmost Vaishnava, he is explaining.
Antiya 5.22 sir. Antiya 5.22 5.22 Antiya. Now there is correcting that.
5122.
Antiya.
5.122. At no time there is a distinction between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His personal identity and his body are made of blissful spiritual energy. There is no distinction between them. There is no distinction between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at any time. So this is the fact. I mean, his point is that why the Lord, when he comes, this is Mayavad, this is the Mayavad kind of thing. That they always say when the Lord comes to the material world, he is subject to Maya's influence.
He
Right?
uses that kind of, he used that kind of word, Asakam.
Gopāl said that he appeared in human being. It is one of the picture of his
But you see, unless you hear from the authorities in Acharya, you go to the Maya, that's why you go to the Mayavad school and hear them, you Sunile Sarva, because they are so expert in, they say that Shankarshan is in Maya. You can see that in the explanation of what is name, Sankaracharya, he says Sankarshan is Maya. Vasudev, he got bewildered. He uses all these terms to make his point that the jiva and the Lord are equal. That's why this is where this quotation comes. There is no distinction. And the Lord cannot at any moment become what? Uh, what is that? Servant of the become conditioned. I mean, we have shown the verses. Harihe, he, nirguna, sakshat. How he has got nirguna and he comes here, he becomes full of guna. How does it make sense? Cannot. You understand? And Krishna also said in the Bhagavad Gita that Madhyakshana Pakirti, Maya is under my control. If Maya is under my control, how I can become under the control of Maya? Huh? So you have to learn how to hear from the authorities. You understand? Huh? There's another verse that I quoted, It's actually from 1087. It is the same verse in the 19, I think it's 142 or 143. I quoted that verse. The living entity cannot become independent. It is always under the control of the Lord. So if the living entity is always under the control of the Lord, how can the Lord become what? Huh? Equal to the living entity. That verse is very appropriate. What is that? Anybody can help me? 19. Well, let's go to 1, 2, 3 or something. I have 143 here. Yeah, 143. Yeah, this is the verse. O Lord, although the living entities who have accepted material bodies are spiritual and unlimited number, if they are all prevailing, there would be no question of their being under your control. If they are accepted, as particles of the eternally existing spiritual entity as part of you, who are the supreme spirit whole, we must conclude that they are always under your control. If the living entities are simply satisfied being identical with you as spiritual particles, then they will be happy being controlled of so many things. The conclusion that the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are one and the same is a faulty conclusion. It is not a fact. This is from the Veda. This is the Vedas are speaking this verse. Veda Pramana, this one. I think this verse is solidly what? Nullify their so-called. So, okay, I guess I have to conclude here. It's taking too much of the time. We have established our summary that Rishabdev is God, right? And the demigods, they always try to supersede anyone who is very powerful. Right? I've given various examples on that. Yes? And how to stay, peaceful in Kali Yuga is to perform Harinam Sankirtan. So this is the subject. Any questions?
Can demigod, so when did demigod develop his ego and ability? Did they develop this quality after becoming demigod? They forgot the God. When they demigod basically?
Power corrupts. When you get power, it corrupts you. That's why he says that now the verse we read, the demigods, because they're so opulent. You understand? They almost forgot the lotus feet of the Lord. And of course, sometimes Krishna bewilders them so he can enact his pastime. Like Brahma, he was put into bewilderment so that he was made to steal the coward boys, correct? You know the pastime? Brahma Vimohana Leela. That's why it says Brahma Vimohana, because he was bewildered. You understand? So Krishna, he is the supreme controller. So whoever he wants to, manipulate, that is within his jurisdiction. You understand? So that's why we surrender to him. He is powerful. That's why the word Yogeshwara is used on him. You understand? So demigods are not. This is another problem because just like he called out the point that how we are equal to the God, the Lord is equal to the living entity, that's Mayavad. So there's another Mayavad philosophy that the demigods are all equal to God. Again, that's another nonsense. You understand? That's how all Hindus are believing, correct? All gods are the same. This is not a fact. Hello? So to prove all this, the Lord enacts different pastimes. So like here, he bewildered Brahma, he bewildered Lord Shiva also, right? In that one, Mohini avatar. You understand? So the Lord is not and will never be on the same level as the demigod. That's why anyone who thinks like that, he is an offender. Or shouldn't be.
So demigod would have been nice devotee before becoming demigod.
Maybe you can become next life.
I'm just trying to understand that. I'm just trying to understand how it became.
It says here, if you do 100 lifetimes of perfect varnashram, then you can become Brahma. That's a word, huh? There's a word to that. 100 life you try. Hare Krishna. Then you can become Brahma. I hope no, at least you become Brahma. For one head is not enough, you do four. Right? And if you fail in your spiritual life, you are promoted to the heavenly planet where you become a demigod. And then when your piety is finished, you have to come down again. That is there in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, right? Bhagavad Gita. 6 what? What is that verse? Suchinam Srimantam Gehe. After going to the heavenly planet, you come back again. So you want to become demigod?
No, I'm just trying to understand.
You're only saying, you don't. You can also become demigod. It says in 4:29:29. Yes, sometimes you become demigod, sometimes you become human being, sometimes you become what? Animal. So in this way you're going. Brahmanda Brahmada Kono Bhagyavan Jeev. The Brahmanda, this universe is rotating up, down, here, there. You have to speak up. I am little deaf.
Say that when we speak on spiritual life, we can deep and say, what we're walking on right now.
Not for a while, long time, By the time you come back, your Kali Yoga all finish here.
Then, I mean, do we not continue our spiritual life there, or do we enjoy the fruits of our until we have done first and then come back now to continue? Or
I mean, you can also do spiritual life there. There's no juridic. Spiritual life has got no inhibition. Anywhere you can perform. Even in hell also you can perform. That's why devotees, they don't mind going to heaven or hell. What is that verse? Kutas, what is that? Narayana paraha sarve kutasna vipiyati swarga narga samatulya is equal everything, because for him, if he is with the Lord, he doesn't care whether heaven, hell, anywhere. You understand? So devotee, there's no. So if he goes to heavenly planet, he can finish his term there enjoying, because the reason why he didn't make it, because he had material desires. So Krishna promotes him to the heavenly planet to let him satisfy his material, desires, and then he finish, he comes back again and continue. Krishna said in that Bhagavad Gita, he continues, correct? You understand? That's why there's no loss. When you become a devotee, there's no loss for you, only gain. Temporarily it may be checked, but there's no what? That you are bereft of your spiritual accreditations. You understand? Whatever you accrue, will always be there. Krishna is also thinking how to deliver you, He is anxious to take you back to the spiritual world. That's Krishna. Gopāl does a little service. Krishna amplifies it as a lot. There's so many verses on that, right? Correct? So the main thing is to somehow or other become a devotee of Krishna. And your life is successful. The wheel of this repeated birth and death stops the moment you become a. And who is the devotee? What is the qualification of devotee? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked this question: who is this Vaishnava? Anyone who chants once Hare Krishna is already Vaishnava, according to the definition of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, Prabhu, so good, Prabhu. I chanted so many times. Yes, I qualify. I really qualify. So don't get carried away. A devotee will never think he is a devotee. A devotee will say, no. Everyone is devotee, I am not. That's how devotees. Right? Okay, I'm getting too much time. Sorry for the long class. There's a question on this thing. Any questions? Somebody is saying something.
The 300 Gopāl is saying that the demigod is like an experienced prisoner. So he gets promoted to be a manager in the prison.
Experience?
Experienced prisoner.
They are experienced prisoners.
They are all prisoners in government jails entrusted with some responsible for prison management.
So they are also in the. So you can become an experienced prisoner. Huh? Last week you contested there is new avatar. This week you are saying I want to go. You got seems to have a lot of ideas. Huh? Very nice. You make the class lively. Don't you think so? Uh, so you try. Huh? You don't go to heaven. Please go back to Godhead. Huh? Now you already shared. Just keep the shikha. That Krishna can pull you back. Huh? Hare Krishna. Thank